Hi everyone. So in my last video I showed you how to make a pocket-sized paper dory or paper traveler's notebook. So in this video I'm going to show you how to make two types of pockets to put inside your notebook. So what you'll need is, again, patterned paper or cardstock depending on the thickness. You can use laminating pouches. It's up to you depending on the thickness. If you use cardstock or thick paper, you might not want to laminate. If you have a thinner paper, you might want to. Corner rounder, again, this is just personal preference if you want your corners rounded or not. A paper trimmer, a pencil, a ruler, an eraser, and some sharp scissors. So let's get started. The first kind of pocket I'm going to show you is the easiest pocket there is to make. So which one shall I use? Let's use this pink paper. So I am going to start by using my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut my paper to be 7 1/8 inches this way, and I'm going to cut it to be, now I've forgotten my measurement, basically 5.5 inches is the height of our inserts, and then add the depth of your pocket. So if I add another 2.5 inches, that's 8 inches. Okay. So we'll cut 8 inches this way. And 7 1/8 this way. The reason I do 7 1/8 is to give it kind of a little bit of a spine. Okay. Now I've completely lost track of what I'm doing. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, so this measures 7 1/8 this way and 8 inches this way. So along our 8-inch length, we're going to score at 5.5. So you can either rule a line and draw it with pencil and fold along that line. You can use a scoring blade if you have one on your paper trimmer. Again, I don't, so I'm going to use the tip of my mechanical pencil. So I'm scoring at 5.5 inches on that way. And then I'm going to turn, and on our 7 1/8 inch side, I'm going to score at 3.5. I'm then going to flip the paper around and score again at 3.5. Move my trimmer out of the way. So with those score lines, I'm now just going to fold on all my score lines. The reason I make a 1/8 kind of inch spine along my pocket is because then I can use this pocket also as an insert cover in my notebook. So it can be an insert cover and have pockets inside the cover. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is, at this point, if you're happy to not laminate, you're happy to just have it like this, you can just run some double-sided tape up your center mark and along your two edges here, and that will give you two pockets. Or you can, at this point, head to the laminator and laminate it, which is what I'm going to do. So I will be back. Okay, I'm back from the laminator. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the excess laminate from around the edge. Again, as in the previous video with the Traveller's Notebook, if you put your insert in fairly close to that closing edge of your, not closing edge, the closed edge of your laminating pouch, it means you don't have to trim really along that corner, edge, not corner. My goodness, can't speak today. All right, so now I'm going to trim. My paper trimmer doesn't like laminate, which is why I tend to try and cut so many times. Move that to the side. Again, I've already folded, and I can see, because this is a lighter paper, I can see where I've scored that fold line, so I can just fold on there again. This one doesn't want to with the laminate, but we'll kind of just make it. There we go. Okay, the last step, because as you can see, you've laminated it, it's no longer a pocket. You can use a Stanley knife or a sharp pair of scissors, and you want to kind of just run along that edge, but you don't want to press too hard because you don't want to actually cut through your paper. You just want to cut through this piece of laminate. So you can see there. I'll just do the other side. So I'm pressing very lightly. You can always go over it again, but you don't want to press too hard and go straight through and have to make a whole nother one. So that was very light. So there we have our first style of pocket. As I said, this is the easiest style of pocket to make, to put inside your traveler's notebook. So that's our first one finished. We're now going to go on to our second type of pocket. So for our second type of pocket, we're going to make a secretarial style pocket. So I'm again using a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbooking paper. This time I'm going to cut again at 7 1/8 inch because it's going to fit the same way, but we're going to cut at 11 inches long. So I will cut that first because it's a lot easier to cut 1 inch off. Okay, so we've got rid of that. So we're now at 11 inches long. I'm now going to, another thing I'm going to do now before I forget is I'm going to score this 11 inch side at 5.5 inches because that is the height of our pocket insert. Now I just have to try, because it's so long, I have to score that way. Oops. Then I'm going to have to just leave my blade up and then keep going down. Okay. I'm then going to turn my paper and cut at 7 1/8 again. Okay. Now again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to score at 3.5 inches. Leave my blade out of the way. I'm then going to turn it around and I'm going to score again at 3.5 inches. The reason I do that is because I get confused when I try to add 3.5 and 1/8, so I just go, it's 3.5 from either side. It's the easiest way to do it. That way I'm not confusing anyone with 3 and however many 1/8 it is. Okay, the next step, we can fold along our score lines again. It doesn't want to show me the score lines, but anyway, it's roughly in half. This paper was not good for showing me score lines. Maybe I didn't press hard enough, but anyway, that will do. Okay, we're now going to fold along this way, and this should fold it completely in half this way. Okay, the reason for that is we're going to cut our secretarial pockets down. So now you can decide completely where you want your pocket to start and finish. You can choose to start right at the edge, you can choose to start halfway and come across, you can choose how deep or how shallow your pocket is. What I tend to do is at this point I'm going to get my ruler and my pencil out, and I'm going to mark 1/2 inch from either side at the top. I'm also going to mark from the center in the middle 1/2 inch. So I'm going to actually put the 1/2 inch mark of my ruler right along that center spine, and I'm going to mark so at 0 basically and at 1 inch. Then I'm going to find out roughly where I want my pockets to have that angle in them. So if I say I want to come about, I want them to be maybe that high. How high is that? So 2 inches. I can draw a line up from my 2 marks. And then I can draw a line down from this 1/2 inch mark to the top of my line here. And I'm going to draw the same thing from the top of my line here to this 1/2 inch mark. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually, with scissors, cut along this line, along the bottom here, along this line, and along this line before I laminate, because that's excess paper that I don't really need. And that way it will show me my backing paper here. Otherwise, if you're happy to leave it there and you just want to cut along the pencil lines, you're more than welcome to do that, and that will kind of keep your pattern fairly uniform. What will I do? Actually, do you know what? I think I will leave it like that. I won't cut out my excess. I will leave it like that because I like this pattern better than that inside pattern. So as I said, that's totally personal preference. Now, again, I have to open my laminating pouch, and they can never open the way I want them. So as I said, this is the open edge of my laminating pouch. This is the closed edge. I'm going to slide my pocket right up fairly close to that closed edge, and that just means it's one less side I have to trim after it's gone through the laminator. So I will laminate and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back from the laminator. So now what I'm going to do is get my paper trimmer back in, and I'm going to trim the edges of my laminate. So my edges are trimmed. I'm then going to fold again. And once again, I'm going to get my sharp scissors and I'm going to cut. And I have just thought of a problem, but we will see if I can solve it. If you can think of what the problem is, please comment and let me know. This is what happens when you have a plan for a video and then in the midst of filming you think, oh no, this will work, and you haven't really thought about it beforehand. So yeah, as I said, if you can think of what my problem is going to be with this, please comment. Otherwise, if you see me with another pocket in a second, you will know why. Work, but it's going to be a little harder than what I thought to do it this way. What I would recommend, looking back, they always say hindsight's 20/20, and it definitely is. Looking back, I would definitely recommend cutting out this excess paper. Let's just say I should have done that, because otherwise this one's going to look a little messy. Okay, apologies for cutting off the last part. I've been cutting this side of the pocket, but for some unknown reason my camera only records 20 minutes at a time, and because I haven't yet edited it, it went over 20 minutes and cut out. So I've finished cutting both sides of this pocket. You can see it's, I don't know if you can see, so hold it up. It's a little rough there. So as I said, I'd probably recommend in future cutting out the excess piece first, or you could just go along and kind of try and tidy that up a bit. But anyway, those are our two basic types of pockets to put inside our pocket size traveler's notebook. In future, I hope to make a tutorial on how to make pockets for a standard size, and I hope you'll join me for that video. So please, if you liked this video, press like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, guys.